All right. Oh, wait. I don't need to hear my voice now. Turn that off real quick. That's going to throw me off. Hella fast. Real. I know it sounds okay, so that makes me happy. Hey guys. So, like I said before, I will start doing these little moments of reading and stuff. I turned off ads, so there will be a pre roll, which is unavoidable. But once you're through the pre roll, you will not have any ad breaks. With the way I've set this up and changed it. And what was this? Roll that collar. Okay, but here, think about this. It's metal. I can put the lavalier onto it, so I can be sexy, saucy, shirtless. Anyway, so here's the book we're gonna be reading. Let me get this over here. Take a look. Is that good? Cute? Oh, cutie. There's that cutie. I need to make the font larger on my mix it up chat because I thought it said there's that collar. So I got yeah. There's that cutie. Hey Quinn, how you doing? Girl, I'm gonna rearrange my screens later when I'm not high. Wait, guys. Okay, I have such a huge collection of books. It's like this is a great excuse to actually read them instead of just using them to decorate my room, like the gay bitch that I am. So here we go. Information to open with. Copyright 1977 by Howard Goldsmith. Chances are this was probably my sister's book, so let's burn this when we finish it. So it's a collection of stories, like a little anthology, a little omnibus. I love the word omnibus. It's a good word. First story is The Spider Ring. The truck came barreling around the corner with a loud roar and a screech of its tires. It was rolling at a terrific speed. The driver kept blasting his horn and jamming his foot on the brake pedal, but the truck continued to zoom. It was out of control. The driver waved his hands wildly. I was halfway across the street, and the truck was coming right at me. Without a moment to spare, I sprang in the air and leaped to the curb. My goodness. Then I spied the street peddler out of the corner of my eye. He stood 2 feet from the curb, frozen with fear. In his arms, he held a monkey. With terror, he watched the truck looming up at him. I lunged at him and threw him to the ground as the truck shot past, its huge wheels spinning furiously, only inches away from us. The monkey squealed and bounded to the pavement. The truck swerved, cut across the road, and crash came to a shuddering halt against a telephone pole. Its front bumper folded up like an accordion. The driver staggered out of the truck in a daze. He held his forehead, which streamed with blood. An angry cut gaped open between his fingers. He stumbled over to the peddler. Are you all right? He asked with concern. The peddler slowly shook his head from side to side. Uh, I guess so, he said, feeling his arms and legs, or I should say leg, for he only had one, the other being made of wood. That just got the wind knocked out of me. His monkey hopped about him in a circle, chattering excitedly. I'm sorry, said the driver, helping the old man stand up. My brakes gave way at the bottom of the hill. He dabbed at his forehead with a handkerchief. Do you think you need a doctor? No, I'll be okay, said the peddler. But you'd better have that cut attended to. It'll wait, said the driver. He took out a pencil and pad from his back pocket and wrote down his driver's license number and his car's plate number. Here, he said, handing it to the peddler. Now I'd better report the accident to my company. He walked down the street to a telephone booth. Thank you, lad, said the peddler, turning to me and leaning on my shoulder, shifting his weight to his wooden peg leg. You saved my life, that's for sure. You know what? I have to get my phone is literally. Girl, where is my phone? Okay, that's annoying. You know, it's probably on my bed because I would have put it over there because I'm stupid like that. Crotch shot, gratuitous crotch shot. No, it's not. Well, where the fudge nugget popsicle did I put that bitch? It's gonna be somewhere obvious, and then I'm gonna get more pissed off at myself for being an autistic little idiot again, right? Oh, you know what? No, that was on the wrong count. I think. No, it could work. It should. Hold on. I have the other phone. I do okay. Just a long few weeks. I'm supposed to be in bed, but I can't sleep. Well, hopefully, scary stories will not impede your ability to sleep. I'll try not to make it too scary, by which I mean I'll hide my face from view. Yeah, I had to do it. I had to do it. I had to do it. Okay, so ideally, do I still have Twitch on here? I should. Yes. Am I logged in myself? Nope. But I can log in. There I am. Harumble. Uh oh, great. I need to do the code. Okay, now I heard my phone. This is a very far-fetched and complicated way to do this. This first oh, we might as well be reading Edgar Allan Poe because I am feeling Suicidal. It was literally right next to me the whole time. Girl, okay. So now I can read chat. Now I can stop being such a freaking pleb. Shut the fuck up, bitch. No one wants to listen to you, okay? Shut up. All right. Hey, Quinn, I can see you now. There we go. All right. Now we have this all balanced out. Now, where were we? Blah. Oh, yeah. Get that cut attended to. It'll wait. He has a report. And you saved my life, that's for sure. I stared at him curiously. Though I had often passed that street on my way from school, the man himself was a stranger. If I had ever seen him, I would surely have remembered him. His face was a road map of fine, branching wrinkles, his complexion the color of raw veal. Girl, that's. Don't ever. Like, girl, you got a face like raw meat. What, covered in blood? Set above a large, misshapen nose, two colorless eyes shone with a dull glaze. Long, crooked teeth filled some of the inky spaces in his mouth. I helped the peddler pick up his cart, which had overturned and spilled its contents onto the sidewalk. With a groan and a creak of his bones, he bent over his possessions, fondling them lovingly. "Oh, what do you sell?" I asked. I sell trinkets, relics, orphans of the past. Most of it looked like useless junk to me. The peddler picked up a small doll carved of wood. This one was nothing but a block of wood until an artisan fashioned it into a human shape. Each object before you is a love child of the imagination. I scratched my head, unable to follow him. I am a guardian of the past, said the peddler, with a strange faraway look. I figured the old man wasn't quite right in the head, and I was about to leave when he drew me back with his long, bony hand. You mustn't go without a reward, said the peddler, a mysterious glint in his eyes. You notice an accent is slipping like fuck. A tiny, gleaming object. The monkey shoved his tin cup underneath it. Here, Jojo, show the boy the ring. The peddlers dropped it into the cup. Jojo extended the cup to me. What kind of ring is that? I asked, staring at it with fascination. The peddler leaned close to me. His voice sank to a hoarse whisper. It's the spider ring, he breathed in my ear. Spider ring? Pure gold it's made of. I didn't really believe it was made of gold. How could a poor peddler own such a valuable ring, and would he part with it, even though I did save his life? Still, I couldn't tear my eyes from the ring. Shaped like a spider with 8 curling legs, it gleamed with a fierce, unnatural brilliance. Perhaps the old man wanted to sell it to me. It's yours for free, he said, as if reading my thoughts. By saving my life, you've earned it. But it's only a loan, he hastened to add. In a month's time, you must return it. Then why give it to me at all? I asked. The ring has magic powers, whispered the peddler. Place it on your finger. There. He quickly slid the finger over my right index finger. A hot, prickly feeling ran down the finger. For a moment, I thought the spider was alive, but that was surely my imagination. The ring will enable you to do things you never dreamt possible. Play a fiddle, pitch a baseball, shoot an arrow, whatever you desire. I almost burst out laughing. Obviously, he didn't know Tom Tully, old Fumblefingers, everyone called me. If any ring had magic powers, they would be lost on me. But remember, today is March 13th. At the stroke of midnight on April 13th, you must return the ring, for no one may own it for more than a month. I humored the old man. You mean you want me to return it here, in the middle of the street, at midnight? My folks won't even let me out at that hour. I shall come for it. Then you'll need my address. I shall know it. But, I said lightly out of curiosity, suppose I keep the ring? His eyes fixed on me with a penetrating stare. Then you must lose your finger. For after a month, the ring will not come off, and then his words trailed off with a sad look came upon his face. I gave a gulp. This was getting serious. The man was really batty. Instantly, I removed the ring and thrust it forward. I don't want it, I said. He refused to take it. Do not be afraid, he said. If you return the ring on time, there's nothing to fear. You would be foolish to give up such a gift. I threw the ring upon the ground. To my amazement, it bounced straight up and locked onto my finger. I rubbed my eyes in disbelief. I told you it was magic, cackled the peddler. You are its sole owner for a month. You cannot refuse the gift of the spider ring. Then, putting a finger to his lips, he added in a grim voice, I didn't put this. I forgot to switch the audio on. Also, too, like, wow, these book readings are going to be so interesting on YouTube. May Silver, how you doing? We are currently reading a little anthology book, The Shadow and Other Strange Tales. The first story we're reading is Spider Ring, and the man has just acquired a ring of apparently magical property that resembles a spider. I threw the ring upon the ground. To my amazement, it bounced straight up and locked upon my finger. I rubbed my eyes in disbelief. Eh, I told you it was magic, cackled the peddler. You are its sole owner for a month. You cannot refuse the gift of the spider ring. Then, putting a finger to his lips, he added in a grim voice, but take care to keep the secret of the ring, or it will harm you. It has the power of evil as well as good. By this time, I was too shaken to argue. My nerves were all on edge. I walked down the street in a sort of daze. All I wanted was to get away from the loony old coot. Before I'd reached the corner, however, I 3 members of the 10th Street gang approached me. They liked to pick on smaller kids, and I seemed to be their special target. Spike, the leader of the gang, had already given me a bloody nose once. To tell the truth, I'm not much of a boxer. I knew I was supposed to bob my head and jab with my left, but my nose seemed to stick out a yard, and Spike's right hook made my head feel like a volleyball. Well, if it isn't Tom Tullet, Spike said, with a grin that split his face from ear to ear. The lunkhead, I thought to myself. Spike's beefy hands balled into fists. How about another boxing lesson? He asked. You mean you want me to give you another one? I said. Ha! Yeah, that's one on you, cried Rusty, slapping his knee. Spike's mouth twisted in an angry scowl. Wise guy, huh? Fuck. Uh, I guess you just don't know when to quit, Spike, I said. I was asking for another bloody nose, but I just couldn't resist taunting him. Spike was quick on his feet, but slow in the brain department. Put him up, he said. Put what up? Your fists. How high up? This high, he said, aiming a vicious right cross in my jaw. Girl. I ducked beneath it. I felt the wind whistle past my head. Instantly, my right hand shot out. It landed right on the button. Spike staggered back against Rusty. I don't know who was more amazed, he or I. Him or me. Him or me, that should be. Hey, Marcus, welcome in. We're reading The Spider Ring. His friends gave a gasp of surprise. They eyed me with new respect. I hardly had time to relish Spike's confusion when he came swooping down like a sumo wrestler with an extra pair of arms. Machamp! He must have taken me for a tree, for he seemed intent upon breaking off one of my limbs. Perhaps he wanted to beat me over the head with it. Hot. He grabbed my right arm in a powerful hammerlock. I snapped my arm back with incredible ease and delivered a deft chop to the side of his neck. You're not going to trick me with that bullshit. Spike shook like a redwood struck by lightning. He looked stunned. He swayed from side to side, then fell to his knees, holding his neck. With embarrassment, he struggled to his feet. My right hand sank into his stomach with startling speed. Spike went, "Ugh!" like a balloon slowly losing air. He folded in two upon the sidewalk. See you around, I said, as strolling off. Spike gasped for breath. I figured it was time to leave, as I didn't want to press my luck. But was it luck? I asked myself. I didn't kid myself about my fighting ability. My right was as slow as a spoon mixing molasses. Big back, big back. But Spike looked as if he'd just had an argument with a sledgehammer. It made me wonder. I didn't believe in magic, but could it possibly have been the ring? Now, I dismissed it from my mind. That was crazy, but I couldn't find any other explanation. Maybe just perhaps it was the ring. It couldn't hurt to give the ring a little test. I played the piano without the ring for a half hour, then slip it on my finger. What would happen? If my playing suddenly improved, Miss Jordan, the music teacher, would probably fall over in a dead faint. That would be a delightful sight. I took the ring off and put it in my pocket. Then I glanced at my watch. It was 3:40 p.m. I had 5 minutes to make it to the music studio. I put on a burst of speed and turned the corner, ran to the end of the block, and charged up a flight of stairs. Miss Joe was standing at the top of the stairs, glaring at her watch. Hello, Miss Jordan, I said, out of breath. Just in time, Tom Tully, she said severely. I had never seen Miss Jordan without a frown. She must have been born with it, set above her beaky nose and pointed chin. With her narrow figure and her red hair, she resembled a human candle lit at the top. She led me into the music studio and set me down at a piano. Then she opened up a music book of Chopin's Minute Waltz. I didn't know why it was called a minute waltz when it always took up to an hour to find the right notes. I was supposed to have practiced over the previous evening, but I decided to watch a rerun of Star Trek instead. I started pounding on the piano. Miss Jordan gave a cry that must have loosened the plaster on the ceiling. No, 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 don't play between the cracks. This way, she said, seating herself at the piano. She began to play. Old ring, I said to myself. If you're magic, now's the time to do your stuff. I dug my right hand in my pocket, hooked the ring with the tip of my index finger, and slipped it on. Miss Jordan had been too busy playing to notice. Now you try it, she said. I'm a drink, girl. A bitch get thirsty. Also, I think I got a text. Let me check what this is. I know there's not going to be any music at this stream, but I still have that auto thing on. It's kind of bougie cute, you know? Let me make sure it's not anything emergency-ish. Oh no, it's just that Twitch verification thing. The rest is all the normal stuff. Okay, everything's fine. Blah, blah, blah. And let me get chat back so I can see y'all. Hey, y'all. Hello. Okay, focus. Breathing a silent prayer, I placed my hands on the keyboard. In amazement, I watched the fingers of my right hand fly over the keys. Hello, hello, Charlie. Charlie, we're doing story reading right now. We're going to be doing books every weeknight, and we're starting with this one, The Shadow and Other Strange Tales. I did not put the sound for Mix It on, so it's just for Mix It Up, so it's just for me right now. But yeah, so we're gonna be getting into this. Charlie, how you doing? I hope you're having a great old Sunday. Howdy, howdy, howdy. So, okay, breathing. I'm just gonna start from the beginning again. Breathing a silent prayer, I placed my hands upon the keyboard. In amazement, I watched the fingers of my right hand fly over the keys. They might have belonged to Chopin himself. While my left hand tickled the keys in its usual fashion, my right hand plucked out the notes with dazzling speed. I gave a gulp and stole a glance at Miss Jordan. Her eyes were wide with astonishment. Her lower jaw swung loose on its hinges. She clung to the piano for support. Her lips began to move, but not a sound came out. Finally, she managed to stammer. In all my years as a music teacher, I've never witnessed such sudden improvement. You have talent, Tom. Remarkable talent. Uh-oh. I bowed my head with a modest expression. When I left the studio that afternoon, Miss Jordan was hailing me as her star pupil. I floated down the stairs on a cloud. It all seemed like a dream. From that day on, the ring and I were inseparable. It didn't attract much attention. My parents thought it was the kind of cheap ring that sometimes comes in cereal or Cracker Jack boxes. I, of course, couldn't reveal its secret to them. The day I got the ring, I had an opportunity to try out its power in gym class. I performed a handstand on one hand. This did surprise me, but everyone else nearly keeled over with shock. I paraded around the room on my hand. Then I chinned 20 times, pressed a 100-pound dumbbell over my head, and netted a basketball 10 times in a row without missing, all just by using my right hand. I could have kept this up all day, but I didn't want to be a show off. As if in a few hours, oh, good, just keep me to listen, yay. In a few hours, the whole school was buzzing over my newfound athletic ability. Girls gave me admiring looks. Everyone I met pleaded with me to do the handstand trick. There's really nothing to it, I said, flipping upside down. It just takes training and good balance. And a magic ring, I thought to myself. As the kids raced past, I became the town celebrity. Kids came to watch me split boards in two with my bare hand. I performed card tricks like a riverboat gambler. The Art Society presented me with an award for most promising young artist. They took me for another Picasso. Miss Jordan boasted that she had been the first to discover and develop my talents. I'd almost forgotten that I had to return the ring within a month. When the thought struck me, it it really rocked me. I didn't see how I could part with the ring. Everyone admired me. How could I go back to being old fumble fingers? Now that I tasted success, I, I wanted it to last forever. Then, one day, a letter came in the mail, addressed to me in gold ink. I tore it open and dropped it like a burning coal. A spider crawled around inside. It wriggled out of the envelope, pawed the air with its feelers, and crept underneath the floorboard. 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 Girl, stop it. Focus. Focus. A floorboard. I stared numbly at the envelope. Then, cautiously, I picked it up and shook out a note. It was written in large gold letters. Master Tom Tully, this is a reminder. You must return the spider ring by midnight, April 13th, or forfeit your right index finger. I cannot explain any further. I shall come for the ring at the stroke of midnight. The bottom of the note was stamped with the spider seal. No! No! I wouldn't part with the ring. How could I? It was unfair to give a gift and take it back, but the warning about losing my finger struck terror through me, and what else was connected with the ring? The peddler wouldn't or couldn't tell me. Did I dare defy him? Could it really be true that after a month I would be unable to remove the ring, and then what would happen? With a shudder, I recalled what the peddler had said about the ring having the power of evil as well as of good. I took off the ring and examined it. No, 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 no. I couldn't give it up. But I must. After receiving the note, I spent nights tossing and turning, unable to sleep. As soon as I managed to doze off, I would wake up with a start, imagining I heard sounds outside the window. Cocking my ear, I listened for the clip-clop, clop of the peddler's wooden leg along the street. The ring was more a burden to me now than a joy. I placed it at my bedside every night. By lamplight and moonlight, I stared at it with dread, but in the morning I had to return it to my finger, for without it, life would be so dull. And I would be so ordinary. Imagine me standing up to Spike in a fight without the ring. But events took a surprising turn. My father was suddenly transferred to another branch of the company for which he worked. This meant that we had to move from Wisconsin to Pennsylvania. By the time we were through packing and moving, it was April 10th, and I felt I was safe from the peddler. How would he ever follow me to Pennsylvania? I felt a great sense of relief. I was rid of the peddler once and for all. The ring was mine, and he'd never get it back. As for the ring having evil power, that was just meant to frighten me. The the ring had brought me nothing but good fortune. It would make me rich and powerful. Still, as April 13th approached, I grew as shaky as a scarecrow in a windstorm. I jumped at sudden noises. I darted looks over my shoulder as I walked, and sometimes, just faintly, I thought I heard the clip clop clop of the peddler's wooden leg along the street. But every time I turned and stared, I saw nothing. Nothing but the unusual townspeople scurrying to and fro. Could he be out there? Hidden, lurking in a corner, waiting. No, that's impossible. But always, as I resumed my walking, I heard the clip clop clop of the peddler's wooden leg along the street. Then, suddenly, April 13th was upon me. My mother remarked that day I looked as pale as a ghost. I told her I had a stomach ache, but regretted it immediately afterwards, for she made me take some evil tasting medicine that gave me a stomach ache. My mind was in a confused whirl. Suppose the peddler had obtained my new address from the mail carrier, or from school, or from Dad's firm. Would he be able to follow me from Wisconsin to Pennsylvania? He seemed poor, but looks are deceiving. A man who made gifts of magic rings could probably do anything he pleased. Maybe he was the devil himself. That thought scared me cross-eyed. Gooning. That night in my room, I pulled off the ring and placed it on the night table. It was 11:45 p.m. In 15 minutes it would be midnight. Let the peddler have the ring if he wanted it, and good riddance. Nothing, I reasoned, not even a magic ring, was worth all this anxiety. However, if the peddler didn't come from the ring, it would be mine. Then, just as the hands of the clock were pointing straight up to number 12, I was seized with a sudden impulse. The peddler had said after a month the ring would not come off, yet it had slipped off so easily 15 minutes before. I placed the ring in the palm of my hand and toyed with it. I was burning with curiosity. I had to find out. The clock was striking midnight. I snatched up the ring and slipped it on my finger. There! I had done it. My body shook all over. Now for the test. Surely the ring would come off. Maybe it had no magic powers. Perhaps the thought that it was magic had given me the confidence I always lacked. Of course the ring was just a fake. Why hadn't it occurred to me before? I grasped the ring firmly between the forefinger of my thumb and left hand and gave it a yank. The ring was stuck. My hair stood on end. Don't panic, I told myself. Stay calm. Your fingers are sweaty. It must have slipped. I wiped my finger dry, tightened it around the ring, and pulled with all my might. The ring wouldn't budge. Its 8 gold legs clamped my finger in a grip of steel. The harder I pulled, the tighter it became. Frantically, I tried running hot water over it. I smeared with Vaseline, but it was no use. It was all useless. The ring held fast. The peddler had been right. I would never be able to remove the ring. I would wear it for life, unless... The thought was too dreadful to complete. Unless the peddler removed my finger with it. I sat upon my bed, quivering with fright. I hardly dared to turn off the light, but was too exhausted to think straight. Ha! I needed rest. Perhaps in the morning, after a night's sleep, I'd be able to find a solution. I snapped off the light with my head sank down into the pillow. Then I heard it, a loud thump outside the window. This was followed by a tapping and a scratching at the pane. A lump of fear formed inside my throat. Then, right before my eyes, the window slid slowly open. The curtains fluttered aside. A hand reached through the open space. Another hand gripped the sill. With a light spring, a shadowy form hopped inside the room. It stood motionless, outlined against the dim light of the window. I sucked in my breath. Beads of sweat broke upon my forehead. Two gleaming eyes probed the darkness. I could feel them boring through me. A shiver ran down my back. The figure suddenly plunged forward. I shot. Girl. Shut up, Bald. All right. Where was I? I was shat. Okay. The figure suddenly plunged forward. I shot bolt upright in bed. The figure came to a halt, poised near the foot of the bed. Slowly, I extended a hand towards the table lamp. My fingers groped for the switch. As I fumbled with it, I felt the point of a finger pressed on the tip over my big toe. I gave a gasp and rose erect on the bed. Erect. I stood cowering against the wall, not daring to breathe. The floorboards gave a creak and another. All at once, a shrill but blood-curdling cry tore through the air. It made my spine crawl. My ears were still ringing when loud, throaty sounds filled the room. The figure inside the room wasn't human. Nothing human could make such a piercing squeal. I stood helplessly, waiting. My eyes strained into the darkness. Why didn't the animal strike? It seemed to be working itself into a fury. I was cornered, without a chance of escape. My mind raced wildly. What could I do? Wickerman Kaz, ring the spider ring. Then an idea hit me. It offered just a slim hope, but it was better than none. Perhaps a sudden blinding flash of light would make the animal scamper off. Even if it didn't, I just had to see what was lurking in the darkness. Slowly, I reached for the lamp. My fingers curled around the switch and snapped the light on. Rah! A short, slim figure flashed before me, flailing its arms. It was a monkey, the peddler's monkey. It hopped about the room, gibbering and shrieking with surprise. Then, quick as a flash, it sprang upon the bed. It held out its tin cup. It wanted me to put something inside. It wanted the ring. I shoved the cup aside. The monkey blew out his cheeks and squealed in a shrill, grating noise. Gazing fiercely at the ring, it pushed the cup directly underneath it. "You can't have it!" I shouted. "I can't get it off!" The monkey's pale, thin lips drew back into a devilish grin, showing its long, sharp teeth. It kept shoving the cup at me while keeping up a furious chatter. Suddenly, a sharp whistle sounded from outside. The monkey whirled around, hopping off the bed, and sprang upon the windowsill, departing one last angry look over its shoulder. It leaped over the sill. I bounded to the window. The monkey wrapped itself around a water pipe and slid down to the sidewalk. There, underneath the lamppost, stood the peddler. Eagerly, he seized the tin cup and examined it. "It's empty," he cried, with a strangled expression. "The ring! Where is the ring?" He shouted hoarsely. He shot a furious look up the window. I slammed the window shut, closed the latch, and drew back against the wall. My heart beat like a trip hammer. "The ring! You must return it," stormed the peddler. I stood with my back pressed to the wall, numb with dread. Then, after 15 seconds, I heard the familiar clip, clop, clop of the peddler's wooden leg stumping away down the street. I gazed out the window. The peddler hobbled along with the monkey close behind him. I stood for a minute by the window, watching the two figures shrink into the distance. My first thought was to run and tell my parents, but the peddler's warning rang in my ears. Take care to keep the secret of the ring, he had said, or it will harm you. It has the power of evil as well as good. If I revealed the secret of the ring, something horrible would surely happen. I could tell no one, though I longed with all my heart to pour out the story. So far, the ring hadn't harmed me. Did it still have magic powers? I turned upside down and did a handstand across the room. A wave of relief swept over me. The ring worked as well as before. So as long as I had on my finger, what could the peddler do to me? I could break anyone's grip, however powerful it was, and I could surely dodge and outrun an old man with a peg leg. But I must be careful to guard the secret of the ring, lest it turn against me. I got into bed, turned off the light, and after several minutes, fell into a deep, dead sleep. The next morning found me a little more cheerful than the previous night. Sunlight streamed through the window. A touch of spring was in the air. I dressed, ate breakfast, and set off for school. Then I saw him. The peddler stood across the street, dressed in the same shabby overcoat. I hastened down the block. He limped after me, shouting, "The ring! I must have the ring!" "Go away!" I yelled. "It won't come off." "Then I must chop off your finger. That was our agreement." "I never agreed to it," I shouted. "Leave me alone. You're crazy." "But you knew you had to surrender the ring in a month. You cannot break your word." Go away, or I'll call the police." "If you do, it will release the ring's evil power." I looked at him curiously, then picked up a pebble and flung it in his direction. With unerring accuracy, it sailed through the air and struck him deftly upon the forehead. The peddler spat out an oath. He clenched his fist and shook it at me. "Beware!" he cried. "You will pay for that." I darted down the street, turned a corner, and raced all the way to school. There must be some way to get rid of that peddler. I couldn't think of any. Perhaps if he kept hanging around the neighborhood. Hey, it's Rihanna. We're reading The Spider Ring. Perhaps if he kept hanging around the neighborhood, the neighbors or the police would chase him away. At 3 p.m., when school went out, I saw him waiting across the street. I melted into the crowd of children pouring from the doors. The peddler's eyes instantly picked me out. He waved his hands wildly. I walked hurriedly, weaving in and out of the throng. The peddler followed my twisting path with his eyes. The monkey hopped excitedly upon his shoulder, holding out the tin cup. I finally broke from the crowd and quickly legged it down the street. The peddler began limping after me, running all the way. I made it home in 5 minutes. I had left the peddler far behind. I let myself in and locked the door after me. "Tom, a package came for you," my mother called from the upstairs. "It's on the dining room table." "Okay, Mom. Thanks," I answered. A carton lay upon the table. I froze when I saw the familiar gold lettering on the wrapper. Bidoof. Then I took a long knife from the kitchen and, standing at a distance, slowly pried the cover off. The carton was filled with bones. They were almost all identical. With a shock of recognition, it flashed upon me. They were human bones. Finger bones. I stood rooted to the spot, gaping with horror. Gaping. He just said gaping. Guys, he just said gaping. Gaping with horror. Before I could collect my wits, my mother entered the room. What's that? She said, staring at the bones. "Th- this? Oh, some kid must be playing a joke on me." I quickly replaced the cover. Some joke, my mother said, making a face. The rings. Wait, hold on. We skipped a page, didn't we? Make your face? No, there's not a skipped page. Some joke, my mother said, making a face. The ring's evil. Wait, no, that's wrong. There is. Yeah, there is. It's stuck. Uh-huh. Honey, would you do me a favor? I've a splitting headache and I'm all out of aspirins. Could you run to the drugstore and buy a bottle? I didn't dare go outside, but I couldn't refuse. Here's $1, said my mother, removing a bill from her purse. I took it and walked woodenly to the door. I opened it a crack and peered outside. The street was empty. The drugstore was 5 blocks away in the shopping district. Walking at a rapid clip, I would make it there in a few minutes. I started down the street, glancing nervously in every direction. Perhaps the peddler was setting a trap for me. I steered close to the curb in case he would try to spring out from behind a building or an alley. 1 block, 2 blocks. So far, so good. Not a sign of him. Only 3 more blocks to go. I began jogging down the street. Careful, I told myself. Stick close to the curb. I passed Elm Street, then Maple. The drugstore was on the next corner. I froze in my tracks. The peddler was standing right in the middle of the store, blocking the entrance. I swallowed hard. My mind raced. Was there another drugstore in town? Sure, there were lots of them, but where? I tried to remember. Then the thought occurred to me. I could pick up aspirins in any supermarket. I didn't need to find a drugstore after all. A supermarket's in the opposite corner. I waited impatiently for the traffic light to change, then hurried across the street. I hoped the peddler wouldn't notice me, but out of the corner of my eye I saw him waving. He was yelling something at me. I couldn't hear his voice above the traffic, but his mouth clearly outlined the words, "Ring." He started towards me. Without glancing left or right, he stepped off the curb, right into the path of a truck that was rounding the corner. "Go back!" I screamed. The driver jammed onto his brakes. The tire whined. It was as if the scene of a month ago were unfolding before my eyes. In fact, it all happened exactly as it had a month ago. I dashed across the street and lunged at the peddler. I threw him to the ground as once before. I, I really hadn't intended to save him, but something forced me to do it. The peddler's eyes stared at me with a blank, unseeing expression. Slowly, his lips began to move. "So you see," the peddler began, "this is how it must be." "What do you mean?" "This must happen now." "I don't understand." "Because you refused to give up the ring," the peddler explained with a little sadness. "This scene must happen again and again. You must save me from being crushed every month, every year, for the rest of your life. That is part of the ring's evil." I stared at him in disbelief. "Yes," he continued, "no matter where you are, no matter how old you are, I will always be near you, and you must always save me. It must be." And with that, the peddler sadly turned away, held onto his monkey, and hobbled down the street. The last I saw of them was just before they turned a corner. The monkey looked back to me, and in its eyes were sadness and terror. Okay, well, that was quite intense. Guys, I'm a little bit tired today. I think we're going to call it on the one story tonight. I got my Bamsy bookmark. The next story, which we'll read tomorrow, probably around the same time or earlier, The Voices of El Dorado. Could be fun. Could be fun gimmicky thing. All right, guys, I'm going to disappear. I'm going to end stream. Are we gonna raid out? I don't know. How many people are here? 7? We could raid out. Sure. What the hell? Let's live a little. Ah. Alright, girly bops. Okay, I'm on global. That's perfect. Girl, no. Stop that. Why am I even. Oh, yeah, because I do have on here. Oh, because I changed the aspect ratio of the camera footage. And this light is in a different position, so it is washing me out again. I edit my camera settings way too much. Who are we going to go and, Mew just started, and Mew is like the cutest patutest. Obst is doing a Yoshi. Let's go see Mew. Let's go see Mew. Meow, 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 meow. All right, Ginzos. Wait, no, we're going to do a special one. Let's see. Is everyone here a sub? Is everyone here a boy sub? Now, I think I can use some generic emotes and make this a universal one. Barbecue moment. Barbecue moment. Just scroll down. Not the ugly faces of random people that don't matter. Let's see. Mm-hmm. All right, guys, here's our raid message. And we're going to go say hi to Mew. Guys, I'm going to enjoy doing this. I've got so many books. And we're going to be doing long ones too. There's going to be like big story line things as well. So, wait, are you getting both audios now? Yeah, you are. Sorry. So, yeah, we're going to be having a lot of fun with this. I got a lot of books for us to get through. So, I just really hope that we get to enjoy the fun out of this. All right, let's go. Love y'all. Boop, 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 boop. Hey, you.